Look, I can't help think that now might be a good time for a little fire and ice. Please.
Oh, do not know. It's never a good time for fire and ice.
What happens when you mix fire and ice?
Warm water, baby.
It's bubbling, baby. Warm water. Warm water.
It is a Saturday afternoon, right at noon. That means it's time for a little fire and ice coming at you live from the Just the Tip production studio. We have been working hard on this, and by we, I mean mainly Daver and Andrew have been working hard on this. I just normally come in here, yell, get mad, throw things around, break stuff, and then they have to fix it all over again, Brandon. But this is the Just the Tip production studio. This is where we are allowing people to come in, record their own podcast, do all their stuff as well. Andrew's going to have some pretty cool stuff coming up here in the near future as well. But that is Brandon the Iceman Cone. I am Mike Tipton. Together we are Fire and Ice, and we would be out of our goddamn minds, Brandon, if we spoke about anything other than the Super Bowl today.
Well, you could say that again. As a matter of fact, 24 plus hours and counting till a huge Super Bowl. I can't wait. I'm excited. I know everybody and their brother's excited. We'll talk about the noshes. We'll talk about the game. We'll talk about who we think's going to win. We'll talk about the stupid prop bets. We'll talk about Taylor Swift. We'll talk about anything you guys want to talk about today because, man, oh, man, it's Shevitz. We are almost here. I am as excited as you are, Tip. My goodness, it's finally almost here. Wow.
And next week, we will have our debut show, Fire and Ice, finally back on the radio. Brandon and I back on the radio together for the first time since 2017, Brandon.
Wow, I cannot believe it's been that long since you and I, because it was a long adventure. I remember like yesterday when you went to Bristol and you worked there for a year, whatever it was, and then you came back and then, you know, you said to me, let's do Fire and Ice. Obviously, we did Crunch Time. You came back and you said, let's continue to do Fire and Ice. We did it at the KTEP studios, and then it evolved to doing it at various businesses around the city, to Just the Tip studios, now 1380. I mean, my God, we've come a long way the last few years.
It only took us, 8 years or so for us to just move down the street.
Yeah, moving on up, moving on up. And I tell you, I'm just glad we're back. I mean, we've been that long. We haven't been on the radio together.
Yeah, that long.
2017, huh?
I had to think about that because that's whenever I left to Bristol, and then we hadn't done anything radio-wise. Yeah. At least together. Like you were a guest on my show a couple of times. Yeah. But it wasn't something just you and I did.
No, absolutely not. And we've dreamt about this. We've been talking about it since Hector was a pup. And you know what? I'm just glad. Thank God we've been able to. I love that look. I always look. When I use the new Brandonisms, I enjoy that look that you make when Hector was a pup. See, my uncle used to say that. My uncle Bernie used to say that when I was a kid. I never knew who the hell Hector was, but that was just a Bernieism, you know?
That's got to be, Andrew, referring to, like, Hector from, like, the Odyssey, right? Like, the Battle of Troy. Because that's the only other famous Hector I can think of.
Honestly, that's a phrase I am not familiar with. So I thought you were talking about like a dude you knew.
I should have asked him what he meant by that, but when I was a kid, I didn't ever realize it.
Has there ever been another famous Hector? Because that's the only Hector and Paris, right? Like those are the only two that I could think of. The Princes of Troy.
Which is cool. I love Greek mythology too, so that's pretty cool.
See, that's my wheelhouse. Actually, one of the cool things about this, and of course, we're going to talk about the Super Bowl, and we're nowhere near the Super Bowl right now. We're in ancient fucking Greece. But I was going to talk about, whenever I did my interview over at iHeart, whenever I first got hired over there, Walter Alvarez came in and he asked me if I read books. I love to read books, right? But I don't read like more recent books or anything like that. I like older books. I like the classics. And one of my favorite things to read is the Odyssey and the Iliad. I've always loved those for whatever reason, and I can just go through them on a regular basis, man. Like I love that entire story of like Odysseus, the Battle of Troy, trying to find his way back home. Everything about that is my thing, right? So whenever you say Hector, I'm trying to go through like my Rolodex.
That's interesting.
As old as that could possibly be a Rolodex.
Yeah.
Of any other possible Hectors that may have been. And I can't even think of like a baseball player or a soccer player, because those are the only other Hectors I would think that might be out there. As racist as that might sound, I might not want to ever say that again.
Never say it again, but that's okay. At least you said it once and got it out, you know. But I will say, okay, do you remember where, speaking of Greek mythology, where Odysseus landed after he sacked Troy in Greece? Do you remember the island he landed? Probably not, but that's okay. I can give you the.
I'll say something that starts with a C.
Aren't you clever?
Is it Crete?
Corfu.
Ah, damn
Corfu.
it.
Corfu. So I went to Corfu years ago, and I was
Yeah.
like, "This is where Odysseus." Like, whoa! I was like, "This is badass," and I'm actually here.
Because the only things I could think of at that point
Yeah,
was
you're not
Crete
far.
and
Yeah.
Ithaca, and I was
Corfu.
like, no,
No Corfu. No Corfu.
Corfu.
No Corfu.
Corfu,
No
you
Corfu,
guy.
you guy.
Okay, so enough of the Greek mythology, because once again, the things we do here with Fire and Ice, all the shows that I've done in El
Everyone's
Paso,
asleep now.
we lead the city of El Paso in Greek mythology.
Yeah,
talk.
we do. Who else does it?
Dominate.
Just Fire and Ice.
We dominate this one. Okay, so Brandon, Andrew, I wanted to get your all's opinions on this. Of course, we got the Super Bowl coming up tomorrow. Are we allowed to call it the Super Bowl? Is it the big game?
We are discussing it in a news context and not using it for branding or promotional purposes, and therefore, yes.
Okay,
Aren't
so
you
we
clever?
can say those. I'm glad I'm surrounded by the people that I'm surrounded by. David's a genius when it comes to getting all this stuff together. Andrew's the guy that I know. He'll make sure legally things are correct
Where am
the
I?
way that they should be. You're the schmuck that just shows up for comedic relief.
Hey, at least I have a role.
You're my human punching bag.
That's
That's
okay.
what you
Yeah, I've been called worse. Let's put it that way. That's so funny, dude.
Okay, so the Super Bowl is coming up right now. It's going to be a rematch of the 2020 Super Bowl. The Kansas City Chiefs taking on the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers and Chiefs both didn't look very impressive making it to the Super Bowl, but the fact that you're in the Super Bowl means you're one of the best damn teams there possibly could have been. Looking at the path that the Chiefs took, right? You had to win at home against Miami in negative 900 degrees, where Brandon is now on a crusade that every football game needs to be played in a dome in perfect temperature.
Absolutely. It's nice.
You go up to Buffalo, you beat the Buffalo Bills. Everyone was questioning Patrick Mahomes, never won a road playoff game before. Then goes into Baltimore and dismantles a great Baltimore offense. That Kansas City Chiefs defense ain't nothing to joke about, right?
No.
Then we look at San Francisco. You had the bye week. You squeak by Green Bay. Green Bay gave you a hell of a punch. You withstood it. If not for some bad calls by Dan Campbell, we'd have a different participant in the Super Bowl now.
No doubt.
So both teams not playing their best, but here we are, Brandon. What do you think is going to be the biggest difference here?
I think Kansas City's defense is going to be the biggest difference. And I say that just because nothing from San Francisco. San Francisco's defense certainly hasn't looked as good as it did early on in the season, especially in their 2 postseason games. Now, sometimes you just need to get lucky. Sometimes you just need to have the other coach make those boneheaded moves to win a game and get in the Super Bowl, which is the case of the Niners, because they have not looked sharp, in my opinion, in either playoff win, and they've looked extremely vulnerable. Kansas City's defense has been off the charts good. They've gotten much better late in the season when you need to be at your best. And the fact that they played 3 games to get there, the fact that they won 2 out of those 3 games in extremely hostile environments against a Buffalo team that desperately wanted to finally beat them. It was finally their year, a red-hot Buffalo team that did anything they could but beat Kansas City. and then you really beat a arguably historically good Baltimore defensive team with the MVP. That was as big a win as we've seen in the postseason thus far. And again, the big difference maker is Patrick Mahomes. I mean, any way you look at it, he is the best player in the playoffs that's still left. And he is arguably going to be the best quarterback of all time when it's all said and done. And he's solidifying his moment right now.
The simple fact that Kansas City comes into this game, now obviously the spread is always going to change little by little. They've got to do what they've got to do in Vegas to try to get people to bet on the game, right? I want to say the stat was what? 60 million people and upwards $2.something billion wagered on this game at some point during the last week. And obviously you got to try to, get people enticed in it, right?
Right.
Kansas City should be in no way, shape, or form a damn underdog in this game.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't know what logic you have behind making San Francisco the favorite, other than the fact that, they were the higher seed in their conference. They had the home field advantage. And don't get me wrong, San Francisco's an amazing team. They really are. They are more deserving. They're well deserving of being there when it's all said and done. And I think that if you looked at, midway through the season, if you said, well, San Francisco's going to be there, I don't think anybody would have been surprised, but Kansas City would have been a completely different story.
Yeah.
With that said, though, I would definitely have at least KC as maybe a 1 or 2 point favorite, but I know the roles are reversed here, which is, the gamblers are salivating at this. in general.
Byron Dalrymple saying the defense is what he thinks is going to be the biggest thing here. And that was something I was thinking about as well, right? Like Kansas City's defense, we've seen them. If you could stop Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens from running the ball, you're doing something.
For
right?
sure.
But I look at this San Francisco 49ers offense, and as overwhelming as it can be, it's one of those offenses that is also predicated on the run.
Absolutely.
It works off of that. You got Christian McCaffrey, you got Deebo Samuel, and what we saw from Brock Purdy as well is that, yeah, he's got some wheels on him. He can move too if he needs to. But I look at this Kansas City defense, and they look just so overwhelming. And then I compare that to what the San Francisco 49ers defense is. And we all thought the second they got Chase Young, game over, right? Like they were going to be able to pressure the quarterback anytime they want. But what we've seen that they've become susceptible to is just running the ball right down their throat.
Yep.
Baltimore was able to beat them that way. And whenever Baltimore beat them, they beat the dog crap out of them. Like it wasn't even a close game. Then Green Bay goes in there, runs the ball down their throat. Detroit goes in there, runs the ball down their throat. And no disrespect to those two teams because they're both really good, formidable teams. We saw what Green Bay was able to do to the Dallas Cowboys firsthand. It was ugly. Isaiah Pacheco was a much more violent, faster, and physical runner than any of the other running backs that San Francisco has faced. And I think that that's going to be the biggest X factor in the Super Bowl is going to be the role that Isaiah Pacheco plays because he's like a Tyreek Hill type player where he is dynamic with the amount of speed, but he is not afraid to run right through somebody, which we've seen as well. And if that's been the issue for San Francisco, I'm looking at San Francisco's defense. I'm thinking you guys got to step it up.
Well, no doubt, because again, if they allow Kansas City to do what either one of the Niners' opponents did, you will not win the game. Let's not kid ourselves for a minute. It's not going to be where Andy Reid's going to make a bunch of boneheaded decisions because Andy Reid is the better coach. If it's a chess match, Andy Reid is the superior coach here. He's much sharper, and he's not the coach who was the offensive coordinator of the Falcons. They gave a 28-3 lead in a Super Bowl years ago to Tom Brady. So Andy Reid is going to, that's the thing, as I think about it, he is going to outsmart them. And not only are they not going to have any answer for Pacheco, but what are you going to do about Mahomes? Because you know Mahomes has a lot of wheels, and he's going to potentially tear it up on the ground as well. So, I mean, that's you have Pacheco and Mahomes to worry about if you're San Francisco.
And then the one weakness that San Francisco has as well is what I also think is Kansas City's weakness. The DBs for San Francisco are their weakness. But Kansas City's receivers are their weakness. So it's going to be hard for them to be able to come back. And we've seen them, hats off to them. They've stepped up in the playoffs.
Sure.
Marquez Valdez-Scantling. He was dropping balls left and right in the regular season, and now he's making spectacular catch after spectacular catch in the playoffs to keep this engine like going for Kansas City. So it's nice to see that they've stepped up. The biggest thing to me, and like you brought it up again, would be coaching. And then I always think about this because, as a Cowboys fan, it's the thing that I always kind of talk about whenever it comes to seeing the way that this team performs. I always talk about pressure. There was no expectations on the Kansas City Chiefs to be here.
No.
Yes, they're the defending champion, but they had such a tough path to get here that there's no pressure on them. And then if they do win, it's just another one of those, they won, right? Like you expect it. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's Andy Reid. Andy Reid is a ridiculous. Like I think his record off a bye week is absolutely ridiculous. He's only lost like 3 games, and they've been Super Bowls. So maybe that's something that might not be looked at in a positive way. But I look at San Francisco, and you brought it up, right? Kyle Shanahan's got to have a ton of pressure on him because you're the guy that was the offensive coordinator.
He's lost 2 of them.
Yeah, and in both those Super Bowls, you had a lead. When he was the offensive coordinator with the Falcons, he had a lead. The people forget this about that 2020 Super Bowl. San Francisco was up by 6 or was up by
30. Was it 20 to?
Well, they had a lead with 6 minutes left. I can't remember what the score was, but they had a lead with 6 minutes left.
10-point lead,
and all they had to do was get a first down, and they didn't. And Patrick Mahomes, begins the legacy that he's began.
Yep.
All the pressure in the world to me seems like it's on San Francisco
and Brady and Purdy, excuse me, because Purdy, as good as he's been, has shown a lot of chinks in the armor. And I will say that this is a Super Bowl for him. This isn't obviously a regular season or a postseason game, but he isn't faced a Kansas City-like team ultimately with that defense that's just going to put tremendous pressure on him. I think that Purdy's going to goof.
Can you say there's pressure on a guy that was the last pick in the draft, though?
Yeah, 'cause
like
it's Super
he's
Bowl.
happy to be there.
He is, but
and he's not the
he's
not the catalyst of the offense, right? It's Christian McCaffrey, it's Deebo Samuel, it's Brandon Ayuk, it's George Kittle. I think someone who's got to have a lot of pressure on him is George Kittle because he's one of those go big or bust guys. I know because I've had him on my fantasy team in a dynasty league for at least 4 years, and I hate the fact that I do not want to trade him.
You should.
I know because
he gets like one good game in 4 games.
It's boom and bust.
Yeah.
Like that's his thing.
As you say, peaks or valleys.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm looking at the San Francisco 49ers. I don't know if the pressure's on Brock Purdy because if he fails in the Super Bowl, he was the last pick in the draft. You're not supposed to be the guy that leads the team to the Super Bowl anyway, right?
Well,
but you look at that coaching staff. You look at the amount of just top tier talent that the San Francisco 49ers have. That's the guys I think has pressure on him. Brock Purdy's going to feel the pressure because obviously you're the quarterback of the team, but I don't think he's the guy with the most pressure on him.
I just think the organization as a whole has a tremendous amount of pressure. I mean, if they lose, that's 3 Super Bowl losses in the last decade. And that, to me, not to mention all the NFC title games that they've been to in consecutive years where they haven't made the Super Bowl, where they've fallen short. So overall, that organization has a tremendous amount of pressure to finally get that elusive Super Bowl for the first time since 95. And I mean, Purdy, to me, you're the general, you're the leader, and sure, that team comes and goes with the likes of Samuels and McCaffrey, but ultimately it's going to be on him. To me, I think he's going to make or break them in this game.
I thought you were going to say something, Andrew. My bad.
Go ahead.
I saw you made a move, and I was like, oh my God, this guy, he's going to say, I thought he was going to bestow us with like some amazing like insight of the San Francisco 49ers or something like that.
Dealing with the technical stuff over here, man.
Oh no. Well, what technical stuff's going on over there? Now you got me worried.
There was a minor fire, but don't worry about it.
Oh, okay. As long as there's a little fire.
Well, I have water here if we need.
This is a couple of bottles of water. We'll be able to do it. Plus, I might need to go to the bathroom. So we got one of those going.
I love you. You're the greatest.
Okay, so now that we kind of spoke about that, right? We see everything that's going on with the 49ers. We see everything that's going on with the Kansas City Chiefs. We know what to expect from Kansas City. We know what to expect from San Francisco. Ultimately, though, none of us have any clue what's going to happen in this game, but I feel like it's a legacy game for all sides involved, right? If Patrick Mahomes wins this game, he wins 3 Super Bowls in his first 6 years as a starting quarterback in the NFL, which is just mind-blowing, right? And then if San Francisco wins this game, they get their 6th championship overall. Kyle Shanahan gets the monkey off his back. We saw, a long time ago, you and I are old guys. We remember Steve Young getting the monkey off his back, doing all that.
Yep, sure.
And it kind of solidifies this team as one of the greater teams of this past 5 years or so, right? Because they've been in the NFC Championship a lot. They made it to the Super Bowl. I think in the last, decade and a half, they've been to 2 Super Bowls, lost both of them, right? But the legacy seems to be on the line with this team or in this game for both teams. Now that we're here, Brandon, who's winning this game?
Kansas City is going to win the Super Bowl again because it's hard to beat them. It really is. It's almost, I don't want to say impossible to beat them.
I feel like they beat you into submission with that Buffalo Bills pick.
I'm the schmuck that took them over the Bills while the line forms to the left. I think a lot of people may have thought the Bills were finally going to take care of business, except for you. You were intelligent. Kansas City, they're going to win 28-26, and it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a great game. It's going to come down to potentially a field goal or something very late. But, the thing about Kansas City is Patrick Mahomes, he's just unbelievable, Mahomes. He makes it so tough to beat them. They're never out. Even though they don't have the greatest receivers, they have him. And they have a very good defense, and that defense is going to be able to slow San Francisco down, not shut them down, because the Niners have a really, really good team. But I just feel that you look at some of the greatest players in NFL history, and they have their moments where they're mediocre. They have their moments where they shit the bed. But then when it matters the most, they do superior things. And that's exactly what Mahomes is going to continue to do and beat what is a really good San Francisco team. And if I'm wrong and they win the Super Bowl, I wouldn't be surprised. Let's put it that way. But I just feel that San Francisco is on an incredible run right now. And you and I both know regular season means nothing. Begin how you end. It's all about how you play football in January. And San Francisco is Kansas City's the hotter team. They've had a more difficult road to get here. Just a better team overall, in my opinion.
I have to agree, and I hate the fact that I have to agree with you on this, but I've said it 1,000 times, right? To be the man,
Got to beat the man.
and the only way that you're able to do that is if you go through Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
A long time ago, whenever he was drafted, said that this is a guy that's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I just thought out of that draft. He's making a case to be the best quarterback in NFL history.
Yeah.
He really is. And like, if you're one of those people that doubts that, then you've been living under a rock and you just hate Patrick Mahomes. Sure, his voice is weird with his Kermit the Frog sound, but you know what? He's a damn good quarterback, man.
Yeah.
He's arguably the best quarterback that we have been blessed to see, and we grew into this whole area watching Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Right? He is so much more talented than what Tom
knew
Brady
you were
is.
going to bring up Tom Brady
Well, of
there.
course
I
I
just
am.
knew you were.
Of course I am. It's Tom Brady. Why wouldn't I bring up Tom Brady? Come on now. He's an Adonis, Brandon. I mean, although, post-football career, he's kind of fallen a little bit on the man crush list. I have to admit that.
Which post-football career?
Yeah. Whenever he comes back to Fox, he might find his way up the man crush list. But he's kind of, out of sight, out of mind. Still somehow top 10. What you got, Dave?
If you bring up Tom Brady, you're going to have to bring up the 3 women that co-starred with him in that film.
80 for Brady. Yeah.
80 for Brady. I thought he was talking about something else. I was about to be like, I don't know what your search history has, buddy, but I know it ain't what I got.
The Golden Girls.
There we go. But I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, we look at Patrick Mahomes and we can see that this guy, this is greatness personified, right? And he said something the other day, Brandon, that really stuck out to me. The Kansas City Chiefs are embracing this underdog/villain role. And I had to think about it, right? We all did it. Tom Brady, at one point, every single one of us hated. Kobe Bryant, every single one of us hated. And then eventually we just had to genuflect and be like, you know what? You're pretty damn great. And you just appreciate the greatness as it is. There cannot be anybody on this planet right now that watches football, that even just in passing, like even the Swifties that are new to football, that look at football and look at Patrick Mahomes and say, he's not that good. There's not a person out there that could say that.
Well, I mean, how could you say it? I mean, come on, that would be the stupidest comment you could ever potentially make, because the thing is that you don't like him or hate him. And obviously, if he's not on your team, you're going to hate him because he's either, beating your team if your team's halfway worth the crap, or he's going to beat your team ultimately. So you just have to respect a guy that has his type of abilities. That it's literally, like I said, it is amazing to see the little things, the little clutch plays, his intelligence, his knowledge of the game, his knowledge of what exactly he needs to do to put it on ice ultimately and say, we're going to win this and we're going to solidify it any way we can. And I mean, everybody has to appreciate what we're seeing here because we're watching it as it goes right now. And it's just, I mean, look, as we've seen so often, it's hard to win one Super Bowl. It's so difficult to win one. Look at how long it's been for San Francisco. For the Cowboys,
it's hard to make it.
It's hard to make it,
even to the championship.
It's very challenging. Yeah. I mean, not a lot of teams have that honor, and no matter how much money you spend in the offseason, a lot needs to go right. And no matter how many players they've lost, a lot continues to go right because of Andy Reid and because of Patrick Mahomes.
And I think that's the question mark that has to come up in the future, right? Win or lose this game, I don't think it makes an impact at all on Kansas City's legacy. Winning the game, yeah, of course, you've won 3 out of the last however many you played in. It's great to see Mahomes did this. Andy Reid is winning all this. But I think no matter what happens, no one's questioning them, right? No one's questioning the greatness of the Kansas City Chiefs. If San Francisco doesn't win, there's going to be a ton of questions here, right? Because, yeah, you've made it this far, but who's going to be the guy to get you over the hump? Is Kyle Shanahan going to remain the head coach? And I don't see a world, and I know it's been floated out there, but I don't see a world where Kyle Shanahan doesn't get brought back, where he gets fired, where he gets the John Gruden Raiders treatment of, you got us this far, but you weren't able to get us where you needed to be, so now it's time to go, guy, right? But I look at San Francisco, and I sit here and I think to myself, this has been a team that, once again, we need to appreciate their greatness. And it pains me to say that as a Cowboys fan, right? We need to appreciate their greatness because we just saw what happened to a team like Philadelphia that makes it to a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Doesn't win, but they just aren't able to come back and retool.
Right.
How difficult it is in this league, in the NFL in particular, where you're losing coordinators and you're losing all kinds of people. Think about the fact that Mike McDaniel, the now coach of the Miami Dolphins, was a coordinator with the 49ers the last time they were in the Super Bowl. And he's just one of the many coaches. D'Amico Ryans was on that team as well as a defensive coach. Like there's so many coaches that were on that coaching tree. Rob Saleh with the Jets, right? That are no longer with that team, but here they are able to sustain over and over and over. I think we got to give them their flowers, win or lose, that they're able to make it to the damn Super Bowl. They're able to make it to the NFC Championship year after year. They've got a 7th round last pick in the draft quarterback leading them that way. You got to give it to this team, man. Like, sure, you made a couple of trades to make yourselves better, getting Christian McCaffrey, getting Chase Young as well.
Yeah.
But this is a really well-ran organization.
It's an exceptionally well-run organization. It should be a model organization because not only have they every single year shown that they're going to be competitive, but they have a brilliant GM in Lynch. Lynch has done such an amazing job with this team overall. And lastly, it goes without saying that you're only as intelligent as you are with the coaches running that organization and making the move to draft Mr. Irrelevant, okay? Yeah. When no one else wanted him, seeing things in him that others didn't see in him, letting Trey Lance go because he didn't pan out, saying, here you go, Dallas, take our crap, and go ahead and acquire him and give us anything for him, right? Again, the little things that you don't always realize that build a championship organization. And look, yes, the bottom line is you need to win a Super Bowl. To be remembered and have a legacy, you need to win it all. This crap of I make the playoffs every year, I make the title game every year, it's sweet, wonderful, but in the end, you're only remembered by how many titles you won. But with that said, it's really awesome, and I hate the Niners. I'm not going to lie. To me, I hate them, right? Yeah. But it's awesome to see the beauty of the quintessential football program being built from the ground up and being able to reload after you lose talent, after you lose the Super Bowl. Because look, it is so hard to win when you're paying guys, right? It's hard in college and you're paying guys, right? But I mean, especially in the NFL where so many injuries occur and so many things occur from a week-to-week basis. I mean, it's actually special what we've watched. I mean, it's really something.
Well, yeah, with both these teams, yep. Right? Like just seeing the fact once again, any team loses a wide receiver like a Tyreek Hill, there's going to be a substantial drop off. That's such
take
a
Lamb
weapon.
away from the Cowboys.
Yeah, and to take Deebo Samuel off of San Francisco, right? Like anyone loses a player like that, just the dynamic ability that this player brings you, and your team becomes a completely different thing. Kansas City won the damn Super Bowl. And now they're back in the Super Bowl.
Without Hill.
And look at the difference he makes going over to Miami, giving, a guy like Tua that all of us was like, oh, okay, Tua's not going to be that great. And then Tua becomes an MVP caliber type player that everyone keeps talking about. This dude is amazing as a quarterback. No one can question his accuracy. He's a damn good quarterback, Brandon. I see. No,
I'm not. That's all I was going to say. I like Tua. But okay. What I was going to say is that and a bunch of buffoon receivers, it cost them how many wins this year? I mean, come on. They cost them the Buffalo game in the regular season. They cost them week 1 against the Detroit. Okay, there's like 3 games, the Philadelphia game that Kansas City should have won, but their knucklehead receivers couldn't do jack squat.
Again,
you know what I mean?
I brought this stat up last week, Brandon, and it always you could turn the mic off whenever you cough.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah,
no,
just
that was for you though.
Just part of the love that we have here. Yes.
Is that better so I can blow my
nose? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, see, that's what they're there for. That's what they're there for.
Aren't you clever?
This is a better studio than any studio I've ever had. So I'm just saying these are the perks of being in the studio now. But one of the things that I was thinking of, and it was a stat that I had brought last week. The Kansas City Chiefs receivers dropped over 300 possible yards for Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Dropped
that's crazy.
That many yards. That's X amount of touchdowns, X amount of whatever.
It's
right?
Terrible. It's just
the second place team dropped 110 total yards of passes.
What a stat.
That shows you just how bad the receiving core was at certain points throughout the season. And it wasn't like, that they'd have, one great game and then all of a sudden they'd have a terrible game. And then, it's just like these stretches. It was just consistently bad. And it was the mental mistakes, right? Kadarius Toney lining up offsides multiple times. How many times did we see, Mahomes hit someone in the breadbasket and the ball lands on the floor and Mahomes just sits there and kind of just shrugs like, nothing much we can do now.
He only has one Kelsey Kelsey, right? He
Yeah.
only has, but he's lucky to have a Kelsey because Kelsey is Mr. Reliable. And
Oh yeah,
he's he hasn't been as sharp this year, but in the postseason he has.
yeah.
When he needs to step up, he stepped up.
And this is what it reminds me of, right? Is it's like those old LeBron teams back in Miami, where they just sleepwalk through the regular season, make it into the playoffs as like a third or a fourth seed, and then flip the switch and turn it on, and now all of a sudden we're going to dominate because that's what we do.
Yeah.
Like we're the far superior talented team. We've got the better coaching staff, and I think head to head, even San Francisco 49ers fans have to kind of say, yeah, Kansas City's got the edge over here. But the more I look at this Kansas City Chiefs team, the more I look at San Francisco, the more I'm just sitting back and I'm saying to myself, man, we're so lucky to witness this level of greatness, and I don't know how many other people out there are actually going to agree with that thought of mine.
There's going to be a lot of people that disagree because they're haters. That's for damn sure. And they're, the Cowboys, they could do this, they could do that, or my team. It is really one of the rarities in professional sports in general, and you're witnessing it firsthand right now because again, it is so impossible. If you think about what needs to go right just to win a championship, and I'm talking about any sport. I mean, look at how so many teams in other sports have been good for so long and haven't done anything. And when it matters most, look at the Bulls in the 90s. They had the best player ever, whatever, done absolutely nothing in the last almost 30 years. I mean, it's damn hard to win in any sport.
Yeah.
And to me, you may even argue that, in football, so many guys need to be there. It's so many guys, 22 guys, right? Plus the coaching staff, plus the rigor of the game. It's the most challenging game physically of professional sports. I mean, it's just, it tears you up. It wears you down. 17 weeks of brutality. And yet somehow, some way, both of these teams continue to find a way to take care of business. Most impressive, though, Kansas City, just because they keep getting there and they keep winning. They keep winning the Super Bowl. They're not shitting the bed in the Super Bowl. They've lost one to the greatest of all time, Brady, in the COVID year, right? But other than that, they've gotten there and they've taken care of business. They have not fallen short. And that's what's been most impressive.
I think that's the thing, too, whenever you look at Patrick Mahomes and the legacy of Patrick Mahomes, right? Because we always think about, what if X player played against X player, right?
We've seen it.
Like, what if Jordan played against LeBron or Wilt?
Yeah,
or
right.
That, right? We saw Tom Brady versus Patrick Mahomes, and we got a couple of years.
Yeah, we did, and we saw who won every time. What was he? He was 0-3.
Oh, yeah,
right?
0-3 in his career, 0-2 in playoffs total.
In the AFC Championship game and the
Super
Super
Bowl
when it counted the most.
Insane to think about that.
And then, of course, there was, so they met each other twice in the postseason, then I guess once in the regular season.
Season, yes.
And that was when he was still with Tampa.
No, he was with New England.
Okay.
New England, yeah.
And I think I remember that. I think it was in New England, and it was early in his career. But yeah, and we were very lucky to be able to see those matchups. And Tom Brady was, grinning from ear to ear, obviously being able to have the best of the guy that no one else can seem to beat right now, right?
Well, I think that's also the thing too, right? Like it came out earlier this week. Like Eli was at a Giants camp or something like that, and they're all hanging out. He's like, "Yeah, Tom Brady's the GOAT." Psych, I beat him twice. Am I doing all that?
Yeah, right. He's undefeated against him and his brother
in
the Pro Bowl.
I think that Tom Brady can do that now against Patrick Mahomes. Like,
For sure.
He's the greatest of all time. Psych, I beat him twice.
Guess how many times I beat him, twice for a ring, ultimately. Because the first time they went on to win the ring against the Rams.
Yep.
Second time they, of course, won the Super Bowl. He was with a different team his first year.
Jesus.
That's the craziest shit. No one will ever do that again. That was the craziest shit we've ever seen in our lives.
Well,
right?
and then at 44.
Yeah, and they had to go. Remember, they went to Green Bay, beat Green Bay that year in the NFC title game. The COVID season, which was a real fakakta season with everybody being out, and that was a crazy year, man.
There's no way that we could ever question the greatness of Tom Brady, and once again, with just that, climbing up the man crush list once again.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to sit back and look at it.
It's just a thing of beauty. I mean, if you're a football fan, which we really truly appreciate the art of the game. You're blessed to be watching a Mahomes, because not only that, but he's a good guy. He's a mensch. He's somebody that's respectable. He says the right things. He seems like a cordial fella. Takes good care of people. He's not a dick. I mean, he's like someone you really want to look up to and respect. You know what I mean? I just I see him as somebody that is a good face of the NFL.
Yeah, and it's weird to say this, right? Because it's not like he hasn't really gone through any controversial stuff like the stuff, you know,
Not like his
wife,
brother.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. So like he's
Or his dad.
He's got his brother. He's got his dad. He's got his
knuckleheads
wife.
in the family.
But like, because you remember there for a while, like maybe, you know, Taylor Swift showing up and being there for Travis Kelce has really kind of took the spotlight off of Brittany Mahomes because
Right.
she was the most hated person in Kansas City for quite some time. And now she's going to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated's swimsuit edition, which is weird that Sports Illustrated actually still exists,
It's
even
crazy.
though it wasn't supposed to exist. It's weird. The whole thing with Sports Illustrated. I don't know how much of that
put
you've
her
been
and
keeping
Taylor
up
Swift
with.
together. That'd be great. I would buy that edition.
Do we need to give you some privacy?
Yes. Give me about 5 minutes, please.
5 minute Brandon Cohen.
Excuse me. I'm going to the washroom. Where's that key?
I hit it on purpose.
Andrew knew where this was
The
going.
rabbi knew where it was going.
He
I
knew where it
can't
was
find it
going.
anymore.
Okay, so once again, Fire and Ice. We're over here at the Just the Tip production studio. We got Andrew Polk hanging out with us. We got Brandon Cohn hanging out with us.
Yo.
We got our guy David Halpern hanging out with us as well, making sure that we sound good, we look good, all that good stuff going on for us. This is a studio that we're going to be opening up to the public here soon. Get in contact with us if you want to, you know, start your own podcast. You've been interested in it. We're the people to come to because we've got just a ton of experience. And trust me, whenever I say this, the work that Dave and Andrew have put into making sure that the studio, one, sounds good, B, looks good, and is just up to par. This is much better, Andrew, than anything we had at iHeart, despite the fact we're going to be going back to iHeart soon. This is better than anything we've had at iHeart.
We'll take the on-off mic switches with us.
Yes, 100%. We need those.
Those are nice.
Yeah, you have no idea how many times I needed to cough, and like I have these issues with coughing up blood
Yeah.
and things like that.
Oh
Don't
my
need to
God.
get back into that, but I have those issues, and I think there was one of those shows where like it just came up, and I was like, I got nothing to do here, now, guys. I was like, good luck, because this is what you get to listen to now for the next couple of
Speaking in tongues, I just have to have that on a live mic. Yeah, it's not a great
These are
look.
nice. You know, I like these.
Yeah, it is, and the fact once again, I think David was able to build these things in like a day.
He's as sharp
I
as
was
they
here.
make 'em.
Can confirm.
The stuff he's able to do is just mind blowing to me. Thank you,
He's
Dave.
amazing. He's our buddy.
Thank you,
We
yes.
love him.
Okay, so we've spoken a little bit about what's going to happen on the field. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen off the field, right?
course.
Everyone's talking about the stuff with Taylor Swift.
Of
Is she going to
course.
be able to make it back from Japan?
No, for sure.
She's got a private jet.
She's en route.
yeah,
She's en route. Is she
she's-
not?
I don't know.
Well, they
Well,
said
let's
she'd
find
be,
out.
they say she'd be en route by noon on Saturday because that's what time her last concert ended in, and she's in China, I think, or Japan. So it's Japan. They said
Oh,
her
that feels
concert would be over
racist.
by noon. Shut up. Konnichiwa. There, I'm better. I
Wow.
like sushi. Okay, so now she would be so it's 12 o'clock noon. She would be done. So should be en route. Like, what is it? It's 12:30
Yeah.
our time. So yeah, within the next hour or two, she'll be on her way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, right? Like, she's a billionaire.
Oh, dude, she's farting in silk.
She's got her. If she doesn't have her own private jet, she's got a fleet
Come
of
on.
private jets.
You know, she'll spend the night on the jet. She'll get there by tomorrow early day, and you know, we'll see her in the booth. She'll be geschluft, but she'll be there.
Geschluft.
Yeah, it means tired in Yiddish.
Yes, the Yiddish word of the day. That needs to make its comeback.
I like that.
But you've used it before because you
I
spoke
have.
about it. You came back from a trip and you said that you were geschluft.
I was very geschluft. I can only
Yes.
imagine how geschluft she'll be.
Yeah, because you didn't fly back from Tokyo.
No, I did not.
In one night, yeah.
It was domestic, I think. You know.
Private jet, domestic, I would think, yeah, the private jet's probably got a little bit more amenities. Okay. But I've been just in awe, right? And our friends, our buddies, Adrian Broadus and Steve Kaplowitz, on behalf of 600 ESPN El Paso, were blessed enough to go cover the NFL draft over there on Radio Row. But it was just seeing all the amazing things that was happening over in Vegas.
Yeah.
And I said it last week, if there was a place that you can go to and not have a ticket to the game, but still enjoy everything about the game, it's Las Vegas,
For
man.
sure, it's Vegas.
What do you think, though? Because 5 years ago,
Mhm.
none of us would have said a Super Bowl in Las Vegas would have happened.
Hell no.
Like, there was no way this would have been a possibility.
No. It's the greatest place on earth to host a Super Bowl. I mean, they need to bring back more, and it'll come back. I mean, we know it'll be back. It's Vegas, man, and plus the stadium's incredible. You know, they roll the field out. It's got plenty of sun. I love that aspect of it. I mean, you know, you tell me you're ever going to have
It's-
a bad time in
It's
Vegas.
a dome, so I know
it's
you're
a
happy.
dome. I am happy. I mean, it's
Of
it's
course.
got natural sunlight. Tell me you're ever going to have, like I said, not a great time in Vegas, even if you're there a couple days. I mean, there's so much to do there.
Glad to be getting that dome.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, if you're
Once you
getting
get in
that
the
dome.
Oh, thanks a lot, Rabbi. He breaks my balls too. I like
Wow.
this guy. Oy vey.
Also, according to the Associated Press, Taylor Swift is en route currently.
Told you.
Got
Wow.
Iran like about like immediately, like 12 hours before the game was supposed to start. Off, supposedly having lifted off, though there was some chicanery and some obfuscation going on. There were apparently umbrellas blocking the view from anyone with a camera could see. So, assuming it's her, but they weren't confirming it. Of course, she's not a total fan of people tracking her flights anyway, with that whole cease and desist thing going on.
Can you imagine living in the fishbowl that Taylor Swift has to live in? That just sounds like a nightmare.
It just doesn't sound, like the money's great, the fame, whatever, you get anything you want, but then you have to deal with schmucks wherever you go. No privacy ever.
I think one of the coolest things that I've seen, I guess not coolest things, but one of the things that I've seen here as of late is just like the whole Taylor Swift effect, right? Because say what you want, she's brought a whole different audience to the NFL, right?
It's great.
And I think the great thing is you see like the fathers and daughters now getting to bond over something as simple as the Kansas City Chiefs. Their stock is going to be going through the roof with like little girls in the next couple of years.
It's wonderful.
Which is just insane to think about. But just looking at that Taylor Swift effect and what she's able to do with football, I don't know where you guys stand on this, but I think I'm the biggest, get off my lawn type of individual whenever it comes to us as just like a collective, because I don't like people.
Yeah,
right.
I know.
But I'm also not one of these people that's like, how dare Taylor Swift be involved in football?
Yeah.
And I'm also not one of these people that thinks that if the Kansas City Chiefs win, it's because the NFL wanted Taylor Swift's boyfriend to win a Super Bowl. It's because the damn Kansas City Chiefs are really good. I will say this, though, and Andrew can attest to this. I am hoping for the chaos of Kansas City winning on like a botched call in the fourth quarter. Like, I want that so bad, just so like all these football nerds and purists can be out there and be like, oh, it's a Taylor Swift effect. Look at that.
It's the Taylor Swift effect. We want to see the refs make bad calls as usual. But don't they always? They're going to make bad calls regardless of whether they're being paid or not, or whether it's fixed and scripted. I mean, look, here's the thing for me. I just think it's great for sports in general. I mean, look, you say what you say about Taylor Swift, love her, hate her, like her music, not like her music. She's good for anything. And she's a humanitarian. She takes care of people. She's seems like a good person. I mean, she gives back. And that's what I appreciate about her. She's tipping the employees of the stadiums $100 each and giving her crew like $100,000 each on the road with them. You take care of people who take care of you. And that's why I like her a lot. And, she's easy on the eyes, obviously. But I will say, though, it's been cool watching. Hey, how many times? What's the under over and how many times they show her tomorrow?
Can you look that up, Brendan?
It's got to be 5.
I know that has
got to be 5.
That has to be one of the prop bets. It's got to
for sure. It's
got to be over 5.
For sure, it's got to be over 5. They're going to show her because obviously it depends on how many they score, right?
Yeah.
But then how often does McKelsey get a 5-yard outright? And they show Taylor going Meshuggah in the press box.
You know what would be a great? And I want to see if this is on there too, as far as like the Super Bowl prop bets go, Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
Who are they going to show more?
Okay.
Taylor Swift or Jason Kelce?
Oh, damn.
Because Jason Kelsey's a fucking party,
he's sexy
man.
too.
Geez.
And he's going to take his shirt off.
The shirt.
He's going to take his shirt off, but he's going to have a beer in his hand.
I was saying this the other day. I love the relationship that the Kelce brothers have.
That's cool.
Right? Like, it's great to see that because you can tell, like, Travis loves pushing the buttons. I don't know if you saw the podcast a couple of weeks ago where Travis is like, tell us what happened in that game. Like, why you guys didn't get lined up? And he just like keeps poking at him, but he's like, he's got that shit-eating grin on the whole time.
Yeah.
And Jason just like takes his headphones off, takes a big old swig of whiskey, and is like, I'm not doing this tonight. And he just turns around and
they're
walks
buddies.
off.
They're buddies you could try. And and they're both like, they both seem like guys you'd like to go have a beer with. They're just two totally cool fellas,
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, no, and they have a great podcast. And I mean, so it's like it's gonna be interesting to see how much, partying Kelsey's doing too, because he is definitely, he loves to have fun and he loves to live it up, and Vegas is a good town for him as well.
And that's one of the things that I'm really interested in watching, like, again, is just I love the party that the Super Bowl is, right? The game itself to me isn't even secondary, it's like tertiary, right? Yeah. Because you got the halftime show, you got the ads, you got everything that's going on.
The commercial, $7 million this year.
It's insane,
and how about the fact that even Christian McCaffrey's bitching about his fiance spending like $2 million for a freaking suite? That's insane. I mean, the prices are outrageous. $2 million for a suite? Are you kidding me? But it doesn't include 2 parking passes.
It's Vegas, man.
I understand, man, but it's crazy, dude.
And it's I know that there's going to be the soccer nerds out there, like the World Cup is a bigger event than the Super Bowl, blah blah blah.
Not for us though. Not in this country.
Well, and I would put the Super Bowl up there like globally as well,
Sure.
right?
I mean,
When
look
the-
at NFL everywhere now.
when the World Cup happens, you've got a ton of games,
Mhm.
right, that are being played, and then that all gets aggregated together as one
It
total
lasts, like,
conglomerate, right?
A month, 6 weeks, whatever it is,
Imagine what we would do as a society if the Super Bowl
It was like that.
was even just 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Look at what this week has
Just
been.
it's one game.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing
A
about
singular. Let's make it a best out of 3
it. Yeah, it'd be
and
cool.
see what
That'd be
happens.
crazy.
Right? Like
We'd be
you
busted.
play
We
3
couldn't afford
straight
it.
weeks.
We couldn't
Yeah.
afford it.
You have to pick your game, right?
Right.
And then hope that one of them's not a sweep.
Going to the mid one. I'm going to the middle one, But yeah, no, it's just unbelievable the global event that it is. And I mean, how many people that just watch for the commercials, because the commercials are great. I mean, they always have a few that you're just like, oh my God, that's so creative.
Okay, I found the answer on the over/under for that. It's 5.5, at least
I
with
said
most of the
5.
sports.
I said 5, so I was right on
They,
that.
they always do it in between, but also
Five.
the amount of prop bets around this is kind of insane. There's prop bets on if she will be shown before or after any of the Kelseys during the national anthem, if there will be any references by Romo
Oh,
to
of
any
course.
Swift song, if Swift will be said during any plays on the field. Like the amount of prop bets
Of
surrounding
course,
this is
dude, that's
nuts.
great. Just around Swift, and you tell me she hasn't had a big impact on the NFL? Come on now. That's great.
If-
I love it. I love it, dude.
If you don't gamble, this is probably the game to just pound the over because it's gonna
What's the
happen.
under over? 40 something, 50. So what's the under over, Rabbi? 50.
The over/under overall, that is, let me see
50,
there.
55.
Also, it was like 47. last
Yeah,
47.
check.
47 and a half,
47
depending.
and a
Yeah.
half.
Man, I'm
Okay, you're damn good.
I have
Hey, I picked the Taylor Swift under.
2 minutes.
5.5.
You picked the under?
I said 5. I said 5. It's gonna be over, dude. It's gonna
Oh
be
yeah,
over.
it's
No, but I
100% gonna
estimated
be
it was
over.
5. It's 5.5.
Yeah. You know,
You know.
just the fact though that this is part of the prop bets, right?
So
and like,
what's the shtick? I've heard a shtick that there's also a bet that Kelsey's they're gonna win and he's gonna propose to her on the field
The-
afterwards.
if I'm not
Is that a
mistaken,
bet? Is that a bet?
I know that's on there.
That's-
Okay, the one that I'm seeing is will they kiss on the field,
Oh,
which is
for
also
sure.
which is
Come
also
on, dude. That's an easy win.
Which is hammer the over.
But if they win, though, if they win,
that's just basically a side bet of do they win or
is
not.
there a
Yeah.
room on the field?
Also, at least according to the Athletic, the question is the answer to that one is the Pope Catholic. Yes.
Yes, it's the Pope. It's a Pope Catholic. Does my mama make good matzo ball soup? Yes. Yeah. Are you kidding me?
This is my favorite one I've seen so far. Will she be seen mouthing curse words during
Oh
play?
my
That's a
God,
good one.
that's
Ooh,
hilarious.
yeah.
I like that one.
There was a part of me like I don't know much about Taylor Swift. I feel like I'm learning more stuff about her. Like you talking
Yeah.
about her philanthropy,
Cultural exchange.
Yeah, right. Like I know a couple of the songs, and one of them is because of the
Shake It
Rock.
Up.
Like shake
Shake
it
It
off
Up,
with the
Shake
Rock
It
and all
Off.
that, right?
Yeah.
Shake it up. So much how I know.
But like I feel like I'm learning all this stuff about her. And one of the things that I thought of, I think it was the AFC Championship game, right? She's just there in Baltimore. She's trying to like support her guy,
Yeah.
and the camera's on her. She just mouths to the camera like, "Please stop."
Yeah.
And there was a part of me that like that was just so humanizing.
Yeah.
Where I was
Yeah.
like, I feel so
Yeah.
bad for her, man. Like the fishbowl
Yeah.
that she must live in.
Yeah, it is like almost comical. I mean, it's unfortunate, but what are you going to do? I mean, the price of fame, right?
My joke about this earlier, just because I like making people mad. I mean, look at the way that I am, right? I was like, this is such a good thing for her.
Oh,
Because she finally got the NFL demographic.
Yeah.
Like she needed all these NFL guys to go in and show her a little bit of love. So this isn't the thing that Travis Kelce and the NFL are doing to get more popular. It's something she's doing to
Yeah,
get more popular.
and the funny thing is how much more famous she is than any of them. I mean,
Oh my God.
she's on a
Yeah.
it's like globally unbelievable how famous she is. Versus them, which Kelsey's a famous dude, Mahomes, but not anything like her, obviously.
I think the
They're not
thing.
billionaires.
Yeah,
That's true. They're not.
She. Oh my
She
God.
is a billionaire and a half.
What
she
if a team goes for sale?
Should we call it?
Fantastic.
Oh, man. Could you imagine the Taylor Swift ownership group in the NFL?
Hey, man, you never know.
I mean, the Hunts are getting old.
Yeah, Kelsey's a CEO.
Yeah, there you go. Right?
They are. They're a little long in the tooth. The Hunts.
Yeah.
Which one? Which Kelsey?
I say Jason. Obviously, you have that schmuck running the show.
So Jason has so much more personality
Dude,
than
he's got
Travis.
that goofy
Yeah.
beard like the tip. I love him. Anyways, did I say that? I'm sorry. You guys, I like his beard.
Inside thoughts.
Yeah. He's like, oh, whoops. This is not the guy still holding on to a goatee.
Oh man, you had to do that. Really? My friend Frank bucks my balls like that too. He says grow the beard.
When was I think I know two people that have a goatee. Brandon is one of them. Walter Alvarez is the other. And I sit here and I think to myself, who else still has a goatee?
Me?
The
Why?
mirror universe
No,
evil
I think
version
it looks
of anyone.
kind of cool, you know.
I'm not saying some in the alternate universe, right? Where like the Spider-Man movies are like all the different universes. I have a goatee in that universe too.
Yeah.
I had one for a while, like in the early 2000s.
You're about 20-something years ago.
Back whenever I was wearing sweater vests.
Back when it was popular.
Oh boy.
Yes.
You know, when the Boys to Men were
You know what I want to
popular
see
or
you do
whatever.
if you're gonna, because I'm not gonna shit on your style. I like the goatee. I do like, you know, the embracing of the facial hair. Try to give me a Van Dyke.
Oh.
Yeah, like just grow it out a little longer
Yeah.
and pointy. I think dude, if you rock that, that'd be amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
A Van Dyke.
A Van
Like
Dyke.
Dick Van Dyke?
Yep. That's who it's named after.
Is it?
Is it really?
I believe so.
Okay. Was Dick Van Dyke the guy from like Samantha and the Witch or whatever? Was he the husband or something? Remember, what's the name of the show? I'm Bewitched. Yeah. Was that Dick Van Dyke?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't believe so.
David, this should be in your wheelhouse,
David,
buddy.
this is in your memory, David. David, back in the 40s, David.
Wow. That's so mean.
I'm sorry. I couldn't help it.
That's like a 70s show, isn't
For
it?
an old-timey radio show, I would have known the answer.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah, that's so funny.
Okay, I was wrong. It's actually named after a 17th century French painter.
What a
Go
schmuck.
figure.
There
What
we
a
go.
schmuck. He's all Dick Van Dyke for sure.
Destiny is letting us know, though, that yes, Dick Van Dyke is who was in.
That's what I thought.
Bewitched,
Bewitched.
I guess.
Yeah, that was.
I guess
Bewitched.
I'm thinking about the later ones where it got replaced or something. Oh no, I'm thinking of Dream of Genie. That's my
Oh,
problem.
I love that show
Okay.
too.
Yeah, Darren,
Barbara-
didn't
Barbara
Darren
Eden.
get...
That one I know.
Oh, we're in Dave's
Yeah,
wheelhouse
yeah.
now.
The same guy who starred in Dallas.
Yeah, da 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 da. Great song. Okay, I'm done humming today.
We need a soundboard.
The Super Bowl's coming around the corner. I started the show with some random stuff as well. We were
Greek
talking about Greek
mythology.
mythology, and we worked our way over to I Dream of Genie and Bewitched.
That's pretty funny.
Hey, but you know what? We lead El Paso Sports Talk Radio in Bewitched and I Dream of
yes,
Genie.
we do, and Greek mythology too.
We can even squeeze in some ASMR here if we want to.
Do we have anything for ASMR?
Oh yeah, we got cans.
This is a very educational program too.
It is. I mean, that's the one thing that I love about doing the stuff that we do, Brandon. And the thing is like, you know, the Tipping Point audience, they got a specific version of me. You and I are able to bring out different versions of each other that we know are going to thrive, right?
Right.
Like we very rarely agree on things.
Never,
We are very
never.
agreeable. This week, oh God.
Oh,
This is
my
gonna
God.
kill me.
Dude, this is great. When did you get this? This is great.
Okay, so we'll
Holy shit.
we're going to
Kidding me?
bring this segment back whenever we
Oh my
get back on the radio. And
God.
thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Daver.
So one of the things that we do
Oh,
is
man.
that we lead El Paso Sports Talk Radio in ASMR.
All radio. I would
All
say.
radio in ASMR. So what we are going to do, Brandon, is we're going to open these cans close to the mic. Not yet.
I know. I'm
Not
just
yet.
cleaning it. I'm just cleaning it.
Do you have one, Andrew? Okay, so
Oh,
it's
yeah.
going to be Andrew,
Oh, this is great.
Brandon,
Yeah.
and then me. Andrew, go. Brandon's still learning how to do this stuff.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, that was crisp.
Can I
That
try
was
it?
good.
Can
Go
I
ahead and
try
take a drink. I've never, what is this? This is a Dr. Pepper cream soda, zero sugar, which seems like an oxymoron.
It's a mouthful.
I'm turning the mic. I got a burp.
Oh, no. he takes one sip, and now all of a sudden, the gas is
Oh
everywhere.
shit! You know what, dude? This is good. Why do you call it Doctor? It's just cream soda. Why is
I mean,
it
basically.
Dr. Pepper cream soda? That it's still good though. God, you don't like it. I like the look on your face. do you drink Doctor? Do you drink cream soda? I know you like.
He does Dr. Pepper. He doesn't do
Do you
the
drink
zeros.
cream soda?
Oh, I
This is
think it's
delicious.
been a decade at least since I've had a cream
If you
soda.
like cream soda, this is phenomenal. It's
I-
diet too. It tastes like regular.
What I do appreciate about that, and maybe I'll finish it up here in a little bit, is that it's
Good.
the aftertaste is better than the initial taste.
Oh, yeah.
That's damn good.
Yeah.
Man.
Destiny helping us out here saying that
Wow.
Dick Van Dyke had his own show. Well, we all knew
Yeah.
The
that.
Dick Van Dyke Show.
Yeah.
right?
So, and then she said the one on Bewitched was Dick York and Dick Sargent.
Oh,
A
okay.
lot of dicks going
A
around.
lot of dicks.
We
The
don't make
dicks are
dicks anymore.
huge.
We don't
Yeah.
make dicks anymore.
No, we like dicks though. They're good conversation.
Well, you know who ruined it, right?
Huh?
Nixon.
Tricky Dick.
Such a dick.
Yeah.
I'm not a crook.
I think what I'm going to do is just find a way to like. I'll have one more son.
Nixon.
I'll have one more son, and we're going to bring Dick back.
Beware, El Paso. We're back on the radio next week.
Yeah, so we have to get all the curse words
my
out
God.
now.
I can't curse anymore, can I?
No.
That sucks.
Yeah, that
I
one
like
scene from the
cursing.
King's Speech.
Oh, that's a great show. I love that one. That was a good movie.
Just get it all out.
Everything has to come out now, Brandon. What is it you're going to say?
Oh, fuck, son of a bitch, bastard. That beard, you look like a schmuck. No, I don't know. What else can I say? What are you going to say?
We went from swearing to just flaming now.
I was
What are
about
we
to
doing?
say, wow, he's like, we're just going to have a tip.
Tell us how you really feel.
Jesus God.
I thought you meant like, what am I going to say? And can I curse as much as I can?
Well, I was just going to say you look like an uncircumcised dick since you want to bring up like, the way that we look. Remember, Brandon, this is not the tree you want to climb, my guy.
I know. Sorry, I usually don't win when it comes to cutting you down.
No one does.
This is good.
Because I can laugh at myself. Like I know.
I know.
I look like a damn terrorist. Andrew's beard a little bit longer though. Looking like Rutherford B. Hayes.
If he was Jewish. Oy vey.
the Hasidic rabbi.
I'm so glad we have the rabbi on the show. It makes it much better, funnier, really funnier. You got to
Okay.
have a rabbi.
Okay, so to recap, once again, stuff that we went over, we spoke about Greek mythology. Yep, we
Bewitched.
went to Bewitched and I Dream of Jeannie, and then just a good 4 minutes of dick talk.
Yeah, that's good. Hey, wait a minute. Did you give us a final for the Super Bowl? You
I
said
did
you
not.
like KC, but
No,
give me,
I
got
always
28-26.
I always, Brandon, you got to know how I operate,
Okay,
my
yeah,
guy.
yeah,
I
yeah,
wait till
sorry.
the end of the show.
Sorry,
I don't
sorry.
give away the goods right away.
Sorry. There's
You got to
4 minutes
keep them
left.
waiting.
Sorry, excuse me. Sorry.
But with all that being said, yes, in these final 4 minutes, this is what I think is going to happen. Okay. I think that the Kansas City Chiefs, and once again, I am hammering them being a dog. Who on
Yeah,
God's
that's
green
great.
earth puts them as a dog?
Not a smart move. No.
Go to bovada.lv. I'm hammering them as a dog. I'm going to take the over on all the Taylor Swift bets.
Uh-huh.
Right, this is going to be a long parlay. Your boy's making some money. I'm going to be able to get back some of the money that I had to pay in order to get us on the air. And then what I'm going here for is like what I think the final is going to be. I don't see this being a very high scoring game. I think that this game being a low scoring game favors both teams, and they want this game to be that way.
Okay.
If it becomes a shootout, I don't trust Kansas City's offense.
Yeah.
I would trust San Francisco's offense. They're much more dynamic offense, but I just don't think that they're going to be able to move the ball as much as they need to against this Kansas City Chiefs defense, which, as we saw, really dominated the MVP of the league.
Mm-hmm.
With a much more athletic quarterback and I think just as good receivers, much better running game as far as what I think with Baltimore. I feel like this game is going to end 24-21 in favor of the Kansas City Chiefs. So not only am I taking them to cover the spread, but I'm also putting them on the money line as well to just win outright.
Yeah, that's a good game. You give me a 24-21 game, I'm happy about it.
And
You
then
know?
there's also the part of me that thinks this game is going to end like 10-7.
God, that would
I could see the Super Bowl
Yeah.
just being one
because
of those
you have two really
boring
good
Super
defenses.
Bowls. Yeah.
That New England Rams, wasn't that like 13-3? I think it was the final. It was 10-3 forever until like the end.
Also, a part of me that would love the Super Bowl. So, like, I love things like Scoregami.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
And there's a part of me that wants the Super Bowl to end 5-2.
4-4.
Well, then it wouldn't end.
How about 2-2?
It wouldn't end.
Yeah.
Someone had to get a score. 4-2.
How about 3-2?
4-2?
3-2.
4-2. Yeah. There you
I
go.
think 3-2's been done though.
No, it has not. There's
But
never
like
been.
sometime in the
Not in you're talking about regular season games,
Yeah,
3-2?
yeah.
Yeah, or 3-0. We know there's been 3-0.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, but 3-2, I don't know. Are you sure?
I kind of want the chaos of 4-2 because then people are just going to be hammering like the people that are like there will be a safety in the game because that's always one of the prop bets.
Oh,
Right?
of
There
course.
will be a safety in the game, and I want the chaos now with 4-2. That would just be a
4-2.
great
Yeah, that's a good
scoregami because I think right now if you were to bet, and this is how deep I get into some of the gambling things, I don't bet a lot of money. I'm not a degenerate. It's only like my house mortgage, right?
Oh, yeah.
But so what happens is I look at some of the things that are going on, and if you get a scoregami and you put $10 on this,
Oh, yeah. You're like, you now paid off your mortgage.
yeah, you pay off your house. Well, like that's the way that these things are paying out for like
Are
a
you
scoregami.
serious?
Yeah, because it's such a rare thing to happen, and even more rare in the Super Bowl. So if you were to get like the 3-2 Super Bowl game
Yeah.
or the 5-3 Super Bowl game, then you'd make a ton of money. I just don't think what it is. Brandon or Andrew, real quick, I know we're probably not going to be able to get this in the next couple of minutes, but if you can find out what scoregamis are still open, because I know we had a couple of them last year.
All right, going to NFLscoregami.com. There's actually there is 4-0. 4-0 is one.
Ooh.
Wow.
2 safeties and the other team doesn't score.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
The other low 2-2 is also
But you can't get it to. It's a
I
Super
know,
Bowl.
I know.
You can't. You can only be like obviously throughout the game.
3-4.
3-4.
Oh, I like that.
That's 2 safeties.
3-4 and 2-4. 2-4 is available.
I see.
So okay, 2-5. There you go.
There we go. That's a good one. 2-5. 2 safeties and a field goal. Could you imagine watching that Super Bowl?
Oh, yeah, it'd be-
And then the Swifties would hate it. This would be their introduction to the Super Bowl, and they would absolutely hate it. But it's all good. Okay, so I'm excited for this game, Brandon. I don't know what you're going to be doing whenever you watch this game, but I'm going to have all sorts of sliders, all kinds of fun stuff going on. What's the go-to meal for Brandon the Iceman Cone on Super Bowl Sunday?
Well, I'll tell you, I got a buddy, Frank, who could cook a hell of a grease. One time, he made homemade chicken Parmesan subs and Philly cheesesteak subs. So I'm just anything like that. I mean, but if I'm choosing just one thing, I can only have one thing in general. I obviously love the wings. I'm a big wing guy.
Go-to wing.
Go-to wing. Honey hot extra crispy.
Andrew,
Bone in.
what's the go-to meal on the Super Bowl?
Oh, it's got to be wings.
Yeah.
Of course, it's got to be wings.
Wow.
Wings are
If
good.
it's not wings, like what are you doing?
Dave, can we get Dave's answer on this?
He's a Manischewitz wine.
Plain sight, so I got to watch my weight. I got to stay out of sight.
Dave's like a salad.
The
a
seafood
good
diet.
Salad.
The seafood
salad with
yeah.
the dressing on the side.
Okay, so for me, I'm a big fat guy, right? Like the wings to me are a given. That's an easy answer for it.
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
I was introduced to these things by Destiny's mother. That's called a Super Bowl sandwich, right? And it's basically like the white bread, right? The pan blanco.
Uh-huh.
You cut it in half. You get like canned ham. You cook it a little bit. You get some cheese and stuff on there. You put it in the oven, let it melt, along with like a sauce that she put on there. That was just absolutely amazing. And those things to me have become like an addiction now. Like I cannot have the Super Bowl without it. I can have steak. I can have all the other stuff. I'm gonna have a ton of beer because you know me.
Yeah.
But I need those damn Super Bowl sandwiches.
That sounds good.
And that's just the way that it goes.
And of course, what makes it is you're throwing it in the oven, get nice and crisp and warm.
It's nice and toasty. I love me a toasty sub.
I know, me too.
Yeah,
me too.
Kind of sad that we're not over at a place to eat
You
right
get
now.
me. I like greases. You get me hungry.
It sounded like he was about to say you're getting me hard.
No.
It sound like that, Brent?
Well, that too.
No comment.
That too hard. But I like the soda. It's kind of like filling the gap a little bit.
The soda, fill in the gap. Little ASMR. All right, everybody. Next week, we're going to be debuting Fire and Ice on Fox Sports 1380. Brandon and I are super excited about this. I cannot wait to get over there. It's going to be a fun time. We appreciate all of you that have been a part of the show, watching us as we grow from whenever I came back in 2018 and we did our first couple of episodes over at KTEP to the days over at Hooters. We were around there during some troubling times for the city of El Paso. And then Brandon, finally, now it almost feels like one of those full circle moments for you and I. We started our careers as buddies knowing each other during crunch time back at 600 ESPN El Paso. And now here we are bringing, once again, the only Saturday sports radio show that's local here in El Paso on air at Fox Sports 1380. There's going to be some growing pains, so just get used to them for the first couple of months. I am asking for your patience. But other than that, I'm so excited for it. I can't wait to see you all there. And Brandon, next week, we're going to be over there at the Fox Sports 1380 studio.
It's going to be phenomenal. I can't wait. My buddy and I back on the radio. It's been a long time. It's been since Hector was a pup.